Welcome to Meet the Artist. This program is brought to you by Hedberg Public Library and JATV Media Services. I'm your host, Teresa Nguyen. Meet the Artist features various local artists whose work will be on display in monthly exhibits at Hedberg Public Library. And in the studio today, we have the very talented Linda Crowley, who is a photographer, and Steve Robertson, who does both automotive art and scratch pad art. And together, they own C&R Designs, a business that they recently started. Linda and Steve will be our featured artists for the month of April. Welcome to the studio, Linda and Steve. This is fun.
Thank you.
A dynamic duo. We get 2 in 1 today. So, Linda, tell us a little bit about this business that you run together.
Sure. So Steve and I, we were on one of our creative discussions that we have regularly, and it was to the point where we thought, let's create a business that we could showcase our artistic behavior. So like he's an artist and I'm more of a photographer. And so we decided, okay, we're going to do this. And so he created the logo C&R Designs. And we decided, yes, Crowley and Robertson, LLC. So we created that 3 years ago, Steve.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And so we have a brick and mortar building where we do have a place to go. We're currently working on our website, which will be coming hopefully in April or May. We're going to have that live and ready to go. So
awesome. And Steve, so what sort of services would you provide then?
We actually we do a lot of media, and a lot of automotive art. That's kind of my thing. And I'm actually, if someone wants their car drawn, I'll do it, or folk art. Just about anything. So
nice. And how did the two of you meet? That's just a quick, curious thing.
We were friends for quite a few years, and we had a garage band, and Linda started taking her photographs, which were excellent. And then she was at Farm Aid and took some fantastic photographs, and then we ended up together, and our art kind of combined and decided we should go into business together.
How about that? That's
yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
And so, Linda, when you were younger, was there someone who was your encourager, who noticed your photography and was like, wow, look at that?
So ironically, as a young child, I was always a creative child. So I was in all the art classes and, being crafty and things like that. And photography to me at that point was like the old flash cube cameras, that we grew up with. And I feel that it was a lot of my teachers that were in my elementary school and high school that were very supportive in that nurturing of the creativity side. And so I also was in drama and I sewed, and so I do, quilting. And
sure.
So photography actually became maybe a little bit later in my life when I became a mother. And then it was just natural for me to have my camera was by my side at all times and capturing all the life experiences.
I love that. And Steve, do you remember an early painting, some special piece of art you created that stood out and someone noticed?
My dad was my mentor.
Okay.
And I actually can't remember the first piece of artwork that I looked at and thought, wow, that's it. So he was a great teacher, and
what was his type of art then?
He was kind of the same. He did mostly oils and watercolor. But if I showed him something, he would say, "That's good, but try this and try that." He was always he was the best instructor teacher I could ever have.
That's so great. And back to you, Linda, did you study photography?
I did not. So ironically, I'm a self-learner, so I did a lot of reading, and I took some college courses at URock. So I did some things there. I did a lot of online learning, and then some local workshops. And so that's pretty much what I did. So that's kind of where I'm at. And then I, was given the opportunity to, I'm a nurse, and so I was given the opportunity to travel. And then it became more of a stress relief for me to just engage in more of this creative, living through the camera's lens is really kind of how I pursued that whole side of my creativity.
I love that. Sounds so fascinating, the travel photography. And what about you, Steve? Did you end up studying art at some point?
Only through school and self-taught. And like I say, my father is the one that he was so good that that's
It's in your
he was
genes.
the guy. Yeah, it was in.
Yeah.
It goes through the whole family, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Wow. That's pretty cool. So this is a question for each of you. Is there an artist that you look up to and I know that Steve has shared about his dad. Is there someone who inspired you as a photographer?
All I really remember is as a kid, and maybe all of you can relate to this, is that when we were young, National Geographic was the magazine, right? So that was what we had, and all the photographers that took these photos of the travel, and it was just amazing to me. And I just felt as a young girl that I was going to, I wanted to grow up to be a photojournalist and travel and, do all this fantastic photography. That's kind of what got me going. I can't say one, but there's wonderful photographers all over,
Right.
Right.
We all were so inspired by those National Geographic
Yes.
photos, but how cool that you took it to a new level yourself and have the talent to do that. And for you, Steve, have you dabbled in other art forms?
Almost as many as I can, trying to find the one I'm comfortable with.
Sure.
So scratchboard was one of them. I do, my automotive art is mostly markers.
Okay.
I've tried watercolor, that's too tough for me. But I'll try almost any medium.
All right. That's awesome. And Linda, when did you get your first camera?
I was a young teenager. I might have been 12, 13. And that was that photo, the flash cube cameras. I was also in a choir through church, and so we would travel. And I took that to Washington, D.C. So that was really kind of my first travel trip with my little flash cube camera. And then as I grew older and able to afford a better camera, then that's when it evolved into more. It was more of a lifestyle for me with a young family, and a release from the stress of nursing and things like that. So it was a perfect solution for me.
And during the COVID pandemic, were you continuing to go out and photograph, or how was that for you?
Yes, I did. It'd have to be local. So, and I'm just so excited because I just bought a new macro lens, and so I want to get into that. I did do close-up photography with flowers and plants, and Steve's family owns a cabin up in Trigo, Wisconsin. So, of course, living in the south, western Wisconsin, southeastern Wisconsin is kind of, you have all this opportunity for this beautiful nature. Even though we were in COVID times, that you could go out and you could, partake in the nature and still get that beauty and that fix.
So true. All right, let's talk about some of these wonderful pieces that you've brought in. Steve, this gorgeous piece right here, how was this created, and what's the title?
Miyachi is the name. It's the wolf. It's a scratch board, and it's a clay scratch board, and it's covered with India ink. And so to create it, you just have certain tools that you just basically scratch away. And
Wow. So
one of
all the white area is all scratched out.
yeah, it's kind of the opposite of a drawing, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's in reverse, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I have like a small spoon tool that I use. But someone suggested a mechanical pencil and take the lead out and put a sewing needle in it.
Oh,
And that, I'm so glad I ran into this guy because it's the best tool I have.
really? And that that needle will stay in place.
It does. You wouldn't
That's
think
so
it
great.
would, but yeah, it's the most important tool I've got. So
Oh, wow. And Linda, here on the table,
Yes.
these giraffes. Tell me about that.
That's my medley of giraffes. And so, as I, again, nursing, and I had the fantastic opportunity to travel to Uganda. So that's Eastern Africa on a medical mission. And so during that time, we did medical care. We also did water safari and a land safari. And so this was part of my land safari. And of course, I brought all my, my camera and my lenses, and I was all prepared.
Following that National Geographic dream.
Exactly. So it was amazing. It was a once in a lifetime experience for me.
So cool.
And it was so well needed at that time in my life that, I mean, I still look at it in awe thinking, gosh, I was actually there, and I saw this instead of, like when you go to the zoo. I mean, I go to zoos and I support them, but to see them in their natural habitat. So this was, and it's so cute because I have the grandkids will come up and we always say, can you count how many giraffes are in the photo? So then they'll look, because there's some hiding, you can
Okay.
kind of see the little,
The color just
color.
pops on that. as
This
well.
is metal, and so I'm really getting into this. It's a little more expensive to produce, but I love this metal. It's just, it takes the photo, like you said, and it just pops it. So yeah, I'd like to do more of this.
I think it's fairly new, isn't it?
It's a gorgeous,
Yeah.
gorgeous photo. I love
Thank you
that.
so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So Steve, what inspired you to create this fiddler here?
It's my great grandfather. And
So cool.
when I was younger, and he'd ask for milk or something, and I'd take it to him. And when he passed away, he gave me that violin.
Did he really?
Yeah. And
He
so
still
I
has
tried
it.
to do this. I started this 3 different times and just couldn't get it. And so the last time I tried, I finally got a hook in it where I saw it was going to work. And I think I stayed up till 4 in the morning because it was rolling along. And I thought if I
Yeah.
quit, I'll lose it. And
Right. When the inspiration hits you,
Yeah.
you run with that
or if
creativity.
everything's going right,
Right. Well,
Because if you make a mistake with scratchboard, you got to throw it away and start over. So.
it's really gorgeous, and it just draws you in, his expression. And he was a musical man.
Yes, he did that all his life down in the Ozarks. That's where he was from.
Do you remember him playing?
Yeah, we actually have a recording.
Oh, nice. And you yourself are a musician.
Yes,
And so is Linda. So you share that in common as well.
right.
That's pretty cool.
And that's working out pretty well.
We might have to have a performance coming up.
Oh,
here.
no.
So, Linda, tell me about this beautiful piece here, this photo of
Yeah.
the woman on the road.
So we were out on the road, and it's just amazing to me to see these powerful women that are in Africa, and they're balanced, and they carry these loads on their head, but they're so graceful about it. And so this one I call marimba, which it's the Ugandan, it means peace in Ugandan. So that's why I named that. And it's beautiful. It also says pretty and beautiful and strong. And so when I saw that, I just thought, that is the epiphany of,
Marimba.
yeah. So I love that. I love that photo for that reason. And it was, how you're just going down the road and all of a sudden it's just, I have to get that. The coloring, everything
Right,
was just right there.
the orange of her dress, and even just the way it's flowing as she walks.
And she was carrying a black bag. It was like a plastic bag. So you
Okay.
can see a little bit of the black. But and then up above, which this one was cropped a little bit. I have a different one that I'll be putting in the exhibit, or the gallery. But there was also a man on the moped, and then another woman in front of her.
Okay.
So it was kind of like you could see the
A mix of time, really, because
Yes.
she is the example of what had been and how they got around everything on foot, everything you carried, and then the modern vehicles
Yes.
that we use today is juxtaposed with that. That's pretty neat. So, wow, cool. Steve, if you could give some advice to an aspiring artist, someone who's just trying out, wanted to try it, what advice would you give?
I would say find something, the medium that you like to do, and just start moving with it, and stick with it, and you'll feel yourself get better and better, and then you'll be hooked.
Yeah.
I guess that's would be my best advice.
And-
he's given me that advice.
Yes. The joys of living together, right? You get all kinds of advice. So, Linda, if you were to give advice to a young photographer just starting out, what would you say?
Oh, I guess I would just say too to just not to be such a perfectionist. That is probably one of those things.
That's true.
Yes, you're into progress, not perfection, and just get out there and do it and experience whatever you can. Just picture. Just take them, and then come back to your little lab and do whatever you need to do, and enjoy. Try to enjoy and find the people or whatever it is that you have a passion for. Which takes you away from your everyday. That you can just kind of go away into your little spot and enjoy nature or whatever.
Through that
people,
lens.
Or yes, through that lens.
Yeah, I like
Exactly.
that. That's great advice. And have you guys had some past exhibits or anything like that?
You should go first.
I do a lot of car shows because of the automotive art.
Sure.
We just had one at JPEG.
Do you remember it was the evening, the night? We both are part of the Janesville Art League, and so then we have participated in their last gallery, which was for January, I believe, and it was like night, the City Lights, I think it's called. I'm
Sure.
trying to
Yep.
remember the name. Sorry.
I think that's right.
And so
Starry Nights.
Starry Nights. Thank you so much. And so we each participated in that. I'm participating in the Blooms and Birds this time too, with stuff from Africa. But Steve,
Nice.
actually, you've been here before in the past.
In 2013, yeah.
What did you do then?
Scratchboard.
Okay.
Yes.
Wonderful. So
And those little cars outside that you
Yeah.
have. What was that?
from
Oh,
the
the,
Chevy on the circuit.
yes.
He did that
one
as
of
well.
those.
Did you do a Chevy car?
Yes.
Awesome. Is it still around here?
They were auctioned off, so I don't know who bought it.
Right. Some of
but
them
there
went
was-
privately and some are in public places.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, two went to House on the Rock.
Oh, very cool.
Not mine, but
Very cool.
some very nice ones.
So are you guys excited for this exhibit at Hedberg?
Yes.
It's fun.
How
It's
did
fun
you
to do.
choose your pieces, Steve? Was it difficult?
Actually, the last time I did it, I had to create more because I didn't have enough.
Okay.
So I'm basically doing the same. I'm picking out the best of what I have. So
Right.
Yes, with me. I'm so kind of getting into this, and I do have a little bit of perfectionism in me, so I'm trying not to be so bad that way.
it's all new for her. So.
Yeah, I mean, so I am, but I'm so excited because I want to share the experience that I had and see the poverty and the people and the animals that I did, the wilderness and the vast, the waterfalls and the rivers. So I have 65 that I've wheeled down to, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to kind of like pick the best from the best and get them. I'm busy getting them all
Prepared.
prepared.
Right. Well, thank you, Linda and Steve, for
Thank
coming
you.
in today, for giving us a sneak peek of your beautiful work and helping our viewers to get to know the people behind the art. So amazing. We invite the public to come visit the library this month to check out Linda Crowley and Steve Robertson's amazing exhibits. And if you'd like to learn more about Linda's or Steve's photography and art or their business, you can find that information displayed on your screen. Thank you all for joining me today. Please check out this program on JATV Media Services, Charter Cable Channel 994. You can also find it on JATV's YouTube channel. Remember, don't wait for another day. Go out and make some wild, whimsical, wonderful art. I'm your host, Teresa Nguyen. I'll see you next time on Meet the Artist.